Welcome back everyone to our backyard food forest. It is a work in progress, many years in the making, but we're getting there. For a few years now we've only had these Egyptian walking onions over here that we could actually consider to be food. Otherwise, it's mostly herbs and native wildflowers. But the things that we planted a few years ago are finally maturing, getting to that point where they're going to be producing food that we can enjoy. So that is very exciting indeed. I know it's been about a year since I put out a video, and a lot has happened in that year. There's a lot of new stuff that's happening right now, which I'm very excited to show you. So let's do it. Now, the first really big thing is that we are finally replacing this old deck. I have been looking forward to this for years now and trying to save up money, and it's kind of a big deal. This thing has quite a few problems, but I'm not going to get into that just now. I will be making a couple videos about this to show everything that's wrong with it and show a bit of the process as we take this apart and put up a nice, shiny, not really shiny, but a nice new one that we will really enjoy. And it's a little bit different to have that kind of content on this channel, but still, I consider the deck to be a big part of the outdoor experience, especially when we have all this wonderful stuff going on out here. So as far as the food forest goes, the thing that I'm probably most excited about is that our blueberries are finally blooming for us. This is just so fantastic. I'm not gonna guarantee that this means we're gonna get fruit this year, but it's a pretty good indication that that's what's happening. I have not grown blueberries before. I have not seen them through the whole development process. This is all new for me. So it's hard to say if they for sure are actually developing some berries off of the flowers that have produced and kind of lost their petals. A little hard to see there, but I really wish I could keep these cages off, but I made the mistake of taking them off of there in the fall, and somebody came along and munched a few branches on each plant. So they would be a bit bigger, a bit bushier right now, but what can you do? I just put the cages back on there for now, and I hope that's not impeding anything from being able to access these blossoms and help pollinate the fruit. But oh man, if it's actually happening, oh boy, that's going to be just fantastic. The Hugelkultur mounds are still going strong at the moment. May not look like it. We just have our hardneck garlic that's growing over here. Very soon though, next couple weeks, the tomatoes and peppers are going to come out here along with some other veggies. This is where we do all of our annual veggies. And then of course, we did the garlic like this last year along the top of all the mounds, and it seemed to work really well. Some of these are quite huge. I cannot wait to see how big those bulbs get to be. And so then we have all of the soft neck garlic over here around the tree stump. Just thought that might be a nice little spot to plant a whole bunch of those. And inside the tree stump, we've got strawberries. Now this is a lot of fun. These are courtesy of my brother and his family down in Arizona. They are doing great, seeing lots of blossoms coming out. I have some chicken wire over the top of this because, of course, they're strawberries. They're very popular with everybody, and so they keep getting eaten. It's hard to keep those safe. But at least now the plants have sent out runners and they are spreading all around this stump, and I just want to keep encouraging that, allowing that to happen And who knows, maybe if we get enough of a strawberry patch all around this stump, then maybe we'll actually get to keep some for ourselves. I mean, I'm not super hopeful about that. I know they're gonna get eaten, especially if they're just out here, but I don't want to have to do a whole bunch of fencing and crazy things to try to keep all of those protected. I feel silly enough just having this chicken wire stapled on top of the stump. But yeah, at least they're doing well. They seem to be very, very happily growing here. Some of them are actually starting to show the start of an actual berry. So in this area, I decided to add in some raspberries. Now these are a red raspberry, mammoth red, thornless variety. That's a summer bearing raspberry, which means they will grow new canes like these little ones that are coming up here. So these canes will grow this year, and then they won't produce fruit until next year on those canes. And so then these, yeah, I'm really stoked to try these. This is a fall gold raspberry that I picked up last year. And so these are an everbearing variety, which means I believe even with the new canes that grow up, they will start producing fruit on those first year canes, and then you can prune them down in the fall or the winter, and they'll just keep sending up new ones. And I'm really happy to see that this has established itself very well. There are lots of new canes that have come up off of the roots. There's even one little guy that came up right there outside of the fence. But I really can't wait to try those because they are the yellow variety. They're supposed to be super sweet, some of the best raspberries out there. Can't wait. The red ones I actually transferred. We had been growing these for years. We had them way out over here in this inaccessible kind of wild corner, and it was getting really difficult to get back in there and manage those. So I just took one of the new canes that had been coming up last year, transplanted it over here, and obviously it's established itself well. We are already getting some fruit coming out on that from the cane that grew up last year. And of course, these are starting to show some fruit development. So fantastic. That'll be nice to have a little berry patch here, more in the sun, a bit easier to get to. And another addition to this little space is a clove currant. This is something a little bit different. We haven't grown any currants before either, but these, as you can see here, they had some nice yellow flowers in the spring, and now all of those have apparently pollinated, and they are developing some little berries on there. It'd be hard to catch that, but so I am looking forward to trying those. They're supposed to be a very delicious variety of currant, and the plant is gonna get quite a bit bigger, have a nice shrub shape. There are some new branches starting to come off of the base. And man, anywhere around this area, it smells like cloves. It's just this wonderful, mild, sweet clove scent that you get when, especially when it is blooming. It smells fantastic. I love it. So this whole space was the original food forest area that I set up, and you can see some videos about how that all started when I did the designs for it and everything that I wanted to incorporate in here. And many of those things have made it in here, definitely the peach trees, but it's really, like I said, a lot of herbs. Probably a mistake to add some mint in here, which has just spread out and taken over that whole space. But we've got some natives like wild bergamot, and there is some coneflower over there, some blazing star. Of course, it doesn't look like anything right now when it's not blooming, but it's in there. Trust me, there's quite a bit. But we have some other herbs like oregano, and the sage is just starting to bloom now. That always looks very nice. And there is, let's see, well, quite a bit. It's taken shape. Some things have really kind of taken over their spaces a bit. I'm trying to figure out how to manage that. So the one unfortunate thing, again, this year is that we are not getting any peaches. I made a video last year where I was hoping that we were going to get some, and we still haven't this year, although they did actually start producing some blossoms, just the buds of the blooms in early February, and I think it was something with the weather that it warmed up a bit and then it got cold again, and all of the buds just fell off of these trees, and so nothing ever bloomed, sadly. So that is really sad again, and just, you know, you have to just be patient and wait for another year. And I have to figure out if there's maybe something that I could actually do to help that. These are supposed to be cold hardy to this area. They should be fine, but I don't know if there's anything that I can do to prevent that happening again. So we will just have to figure that out before next year. But it is good to see that at least they are starting to produce flower buds. Another thing with this tree last year is that half of the tree got a disease or something happened with it. It was not doing well. There was a whole other branch that came up over here about this same size, and all of the leaves were drooping and turning brown and yellow, and it didn't look good at all. There was even some sap that seemed to be seeping out of it, and so I had to make a tough decision and just chop off that whole half of the tree, and just had to cut it right there. And then this whole half, even when that was happening, this half still looked fine, and since I cut that off, it's been okay. It didn't show any other signs of disease or anything, so it's actually done very well. So I can only assume that what I did there saved the tree, and so I hope it continues. This, by the way, is a Red Haven variety, and over here is the Alberta, and we have not seen any disease or any problems on this one, but it's been a little bit trickier to manage just for the way that it has grown. It's a little bit crooked. Hopefully it doesn't cause any problems either. Well, I apologize for the sudden change in audio and video quality. My camera just completely malfunctioned on me. It's not doing anything now, which is very troubling. But we're just gonna have to finish this video on my phone because it's been a year since I put anything out, and I'm not gonna let this stop me when I'm almost done showing just how wonderful this space is. I love coming out here and walking through here. It smells great. I can smell mint right now. It smells amazing. The bees really like traveling around here. They love the creeping Charlie flowers. They just go nuts for these. And then, of course, when everything else starts blooming, even the oregano, we've got prairie blazing star, we have asters, there is some anise hyssop that I added in there, all the cone flowers, there's some butterfly weed, some more asters. Just everything starts blooming, and walking through here when there are just butterflies and insects all over everything is amazing. Again, I really want to get a lot more food incorporated into all this space, but it is fun for right now just to see how active this space can be. So let's see, this is the old flower bed. One of my first video on the channel, really. I talked about making this little flower bed, and of course it has just totally changed into so many different things growing here. I've kind of taken some of it apart, but we've got catnip, more asters, there's some salvia back in there, some grasses, we've got fall sunflower, there's some more blazing star in this area, and we just get these sticky weeds coming up everywhere. But yeah, just a whole bunch of other stuff. So many seeds of other things have just made their way into here, and we've just kind of let them go because there's a lot of natives in there. We're just trying to keep the invasive species out of these things as much as we can. But this, well, let's see, this over here is where the raspberries were, if we can see. So this is what I'm saying with just how tight this space is back here, and it's totally unruly. I don't like trying to get back in there and pick raspberries, and I just want to get them out of this space and clear this out. And I'm kind of doing the same thing just with this whole area. This is the original room to grow garden from when I started the channel, and pretty early on I made a video about making these raised beds, and we had a few more rectangle ones, much smaller beds all around here, and we just shifted out of growing all our veggies here because they weren't doing as well, and we started doing them in the Hugelkultur beds where they have done significantly better. So last year I just started taking apart the smaller beds and found just how rotten those were. You can see in this video that they are completely falling apart, and so those beds, all of this lumber was just untreated lumber that I used because at the time I was hesitant to use any treated wood. And I know it's supposed to be safe for gardening, but I just didn't really want to chance it. Just decided to use some untreated wood, and it's lasted about 5 or 6 years now before completely being destroyed. And these beds, if you get down in the soil on the inside, you can definitely see that they are also coming apart too. So this might be the last year that we use these. I just decided to grow our onions over here. We've got red and white onions, and then we have potatoes over here that were just store-bought potatoes that started sprouting. You know how that goes, getting more mileage out of them. Anyway, this space as well, this whole area, now that I've taken the fence out of here and everything, I want to open this all up. I did have a lot of people that really enjoyed the video where I talked about making the garden gate that we had here, and don't worry, we still have it. It's still doing well, and I am going to repurpose that for a gate on the north side of the house now. So happy to still have that. It's still in great shape, but otherwise I want this whole area eventually to be much more open and incorporated into the rest of the food forest. If we can add in some hazelnuts, cherry trees, more fruit trees and berry bushes, you know, there are all kinds of things that we could add into this space and really incorporate this more. This lilac is doing great. We have one in the front yard that bloomed for the first time this year. This one hasn't, but otherwise it looks incredibly healthy and it's doing well. So that's, I guess, pretty much it for now. So thank you so much for watching. I hope this was somewhat interesting to see how this is all doing. And again, I really do want to keep making more videos for this channel. It is very tough with my schedule and also managing my other channel where I'm doing lots of drumming videos and getting into that a lot more. But I mean, this is still very exciting to see what's happening out here, especially as we are starting to get more food growing in this area. I really do like how this is taking shape, and I want to do a lot more with it. So thank you so much for watching. Have an awesome day, and I will see you again as soon as I can.